Welcome, everybody. Hey, Marty, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn. Welcome to How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options weekly live stream. Joining me from downtown, not at Honolulu, but just closer to downtown than I am, out in the country here in Makakilo, is Dr. Steve Farrar. Steve, welcome.
Good to be here.
And we've got Steve's got us two great stocks, and you're in for a treat today if you're joining us, because I'm gonna provide a specific price point for a potential entry on one of them. Again, remember what we're doing is that these are not recommendations to buy; they are just basically identifications of how we will be looking to trade the particular entities. And so, if you want to trade along with us, that's great. So let's go on over here. And so as you may know, I'm working out the kinks on it, but I'm working on providing some live updates throughout the trading day, probably once or twice a day on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I did want to actually first thing this morning, just because the market was down, and I'm providing that on my Instagram channel. And it's just a live update. So if you're looking for a way to basically hook in, it is totally free. But just go over and subscribe or follow me on Instagram. And here is the address. And I do like Instagram for that kind of an announcement, and also just a visual type of a platform. There seems to be a lot less of the kind of stuff that Facebook has become renowned for, and I'll let you put the definition on what that specifically is. But if you want to join me over there, just go ahead and hit that. You can hit the follow button, and if you like it, that's great. If you missed the live stream, I do post it to Instagram TV, IGTV, and then also on my Facebook page. I'll post it there also. And typically the updates are only about 3 to 5 minutes long. This morning's was 6 minutes because the market was falling. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into today's session. Remember that what we do is for training purposes, and so we want to basically keep this short, sweet. Our objective is to keep our Friday time together down to about 15 to 20 minutes. And so I'm going to run rapidly because we can jump in the charts. But here's where we're sitting. This is my own P&L for the year, up a little bit over 60%. I'm really pleased with that. As you can see, we're beating the S&P by 48%. And then this is something I haven't done for a long time. But since we're getting to the end of the year, I do take an analysis of how we're doing for the two strategies I cover under active trend trading. Strategy one is basically a strategy for trading stocks and ETFs. Our top 5 autopilot trading system is within strategy one. And then strategy two is an option strategy. We started the strategy 2 piece, and I'm aiming for just to do that with a small account. We started with $20,000 at the beginning of the year, and right now the profits on that $20,000 is up about $39,000. So, gosh, we're almost up 200% on that. So I'm really pleased with that. Overall, the CUM 62, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I would normally be happy with 62%, but I got an email from one of our members the other day, Steve, and he goes, well, Dennis, another $1,000 and I'm going to be up 100% for the year. And so I said, that's cool. That's awesome. And that person is a really excellent student and really, really applies the rules. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is applying the rules and then moving on. So, hey, Yang, how you doing? So let's go ahead and start looking at the charts. I want to do that. I'm going to be looking at a daily and a weekly chart. And let's get started with the S&P. The S&P broke out of this congestion zone earlier towards the last week a little bit. It worked its way up, and then all of a sudden, kind of like lost in And so, hey, Marty, that's what that, yeah, you can go and you can look at the, that's a great question. Marty asked a question, is there any way to understand how to use the running list? I tell you what, the running list is basically, I lay that out on the page for the running list. It tells exactly how to use it. I'll send you a link later on to show you exactly what you can do. And the videos are all there about how to use it, how to set up your trades and all that kind of stuff. So great question. Thank you. So let's see what we've got. I've got to get my drawing pencil out here. Here's one of the things I'm looking at, Steve. We're getting a lot of this. I'm not saying the market is going to go into a big slump, although it might. We never know. But Wednesday, we had that bearish engulfing pattern. We knew, I started off, last week, basically in the video that we posted to the YouTube channel. We posted up and said, has the Russell's rocket ride ended? Meaning things were getting up into the nosebleed, kind of like running out of gas when it reached a certain altitude. It's going to stall out. We may be seeing a little bit of that. However, with that being said, we had a bearish engulfing on a daily chart. We had the momentum turning over, but prices are they're behaving very nicely. We've dropped the 8, but we're coming down to potentially retest support down at the 20. And if you look to the left, that's an area where it found support before. So with this last run all the way from October 30th, it has respected the 20, the 8-day moving average fairly well. Now it's going to be probably looks like it's going to challenge the 20. Oftentimes what happens when you see that is that it is the first indication that the price action is starting to hammer over and hit on top of, like a jackhammer on top of the moving averages, and then the moving averages finally start to creep down and break to the downside. That's when price action tends to follow, and it can follow in a real hurry. So what do we have on a weekly chart? Really quick, we have a bearish harami. So on the weekly chart, we do have a slightly negative divergence from the high here to the high there where we made a new high. And so that is a bearish reversal signal. However, with all candlestick signals, they tell us where. They do not tell us how much the move is going to be. Looking at the Qs. Qs gave us a really, let's get the Qs. Remember when the Qs were the Qs? 4 Qs? I think that was been a while, but some of you have been trading long enough, you remember when it was 4 Q. Similar type pattern, except it was worse. Not quite a bearish engulfing, but it's pretty darn close here. On Wednesday, harder sell-off, dropping down below the 8-day moving average. But isn't that interesting? Came right down to a level of support. Anytime you see this, and this green box, this green zone was drawn in previously. Okay, I drew this in basically a couple of weeks ago when we started bouncing off of that high there, bouncing off these lows there. It established my level of support and my level of resistance. So this was a fake out breakout, dropping back down to retest and actually put in a nice little hammer, our dragonfly doji, with a bullish harami, little body inside a big body, a bullish harami. So we'll see if this in fact does move back to the other line. I am not going to take a trade on, on the Qs or the Russells today, simply because I've got my momentum indicators starting to roll over and they haven't started to peak back up. Where do they typically run into support at on the TSI? Down here about the 0 line or just before it. What's going over here on the weekly chart? Well, the weekly chart, we're looking at a piercing, well, not a piercing line, but a dark cloud cover, which again is a bearish reversal signal. It wouldn't surprise me, what type of a drop could we get? And that's always a question I have And we're going to show this on but I can jump up here. Let me get rid of this. There we go. I can jump up here and I'm going to grab real quick. I'm going to grab this fib, and this is a Fibonacci extension tool. And what it is it is a measure of symmetry. In other words, oftentimes a stock or an ETF or an index will move an approximate same distance. And so there's symmetry in the move because there's a lot of people watching the stock. They know what's going on. There's a lot, a lot more technical traders out there. So let's take a couple of looks at what could be symmetry in this particular current move. Excuse me. One of the areas I can go is I'm going to grab this high to this low. I'm going to grab that, and I realize that was just a 2-day move, but that was a pretty significant move down to that low, come back up to this high over here. And what that tells us, if we have a symmetric move from this high to this low to this high to where? 100% move, which would be down here at the 289, 290 level. What does it correspond with? And when I do that kind of measurement, I always look for, are there other clues? And sure enough, there's the 50-day moving average starting to move up. So anywhere between the 786 and the 50 would be an ideal place where it could find some good, strong support. And in reality, that would be really healthy for the market to kind of blow itself out. And that's where I'd be looking for a potential bounce up. And so my headline for this week's session is we're getting a pullback. Will this pullback set us up for the next thrust going in, and a thrust going into the end of the year? We shall see. IWM. Oh, stop it. IWM. IWM is the healthiest of all the three indexes in reality. Excuse me. What we do have, though, is on a daily chart, I have a bearish harami, which is an indication of a potential reversal. I do not have this is not really a shooting star because the wick on the top isn't long enough on the weekly chart. However, it is very extended on the weekly chart, as you can see. What might be my expectation? Since October, it broke out above the 8-day moving average. It has respected the 8-day all the way up. If this gets in sync with the other indexes, I would anticipate a breakdown below the 8 and probably a retest down in this area here, but somewhere between the 8 and the 20. As you can look here to your left, you're going to find some support at about 182, 183. At this particular time, I am not going to trade IWM to the downside because I do not have a bearish reversal signal. And so there's just, there basically is just in a wait mode for a bullish setup on IWM. So my overall stance right now is cautiously bullish, but I'm waiting for the setups. So what do you think, Steve?
Pretty much agree with you. I think we're in a pause. I'm not clear how shallow or deep it might be, but I think we're in a waiting mode to start to take long trades. Yeah.
Cool. Excuse me. Actually, I want to put myself on mute. Just tell us what we got going, because I got to clear my throat. Tell us what you have going here on ATVI.
Okay, ATVI is just great. It's in the about 4 days of sideways action, and I think it tried to, but was not successful breaking out today. Volume is low, so it's one I'm watching for an entry. If we can get just a little higher, above the high close above the high from about 4 days ago. You're looking at a weekly chart there? No, a daily chart. Oh, weekly. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
on a daily chart, it's been sideways for a while. It bounced off the long-term moving averages, the 200-day moving averages, and I think we're coming up and we're above the 50, and we're stacked and sloped with the shorter-term averages, and I think it's ready to go.
So let's see. You said the high from a couple of days ago. So you want to close
the bar that your cursor was on.
Okay, so you want to close above 83.64.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just be aware that that may bring us right into a level of resistance, and that's okay because this isn't a really strong uptrend. So what about the next one is, and I really like this one, Steve. I'm putting out a lot of bandwidth today. LRCX.
Yeah, it's the stock I've been watching for quite a time. It got away from me, and then waiting for an opportunity to get into it, and I think we may be near.
Okay. And so this is one of those where you think we may be near. Okay. I've got basically some areas of you're not concerned, but just some thoughts going, okay, well, yeah, that could, be the case, but it needs to do some kind of pullback. And that's why, what do you use as your line in the sand as far as where you want your pullback to go to?
Well, I watched the breakout, the area from which it broke out, but this one is quite a ways away.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for a pullback, and then I'm looking for an indication that a reversal has occurred.
Okay. So
and then I would go long.
As I promised, I'm going to give you a number for a potential pullback that I would put in an alert to potentially buy this. You ready? Okay. So this was basically if it does a symmetric pullback to what it did earlier, and this wasn't the most significant one, but this is one heck of a big run. But again, I'm equating it to the run to basically this pullback right here. Where would that be over here? If I get 100%, it would be that line right there. And isn't that interesting? If you that line right there,
close.
Huh?
It's pretty close.
Yeah. So that number right there is $463.01.
Put in a buy.
Put in a buy. Now the thing about it is, I look to my left, and what do I see? I'm going to write a children's book about that to teach them how to trade stocks or something. You look to your left, and what do you see? What we see over here is it did a breakout there, right there when it pulled back down into the 8-day moving average. It broke out again right there and went on this last little spurt. And so that's an excellent place. The next spot is somewhere in this little magic fib box right here. This lower and down here is the 1272 extension from the high there. And so there, the 100 or the 78, somewhere in that fib box. And I'll just basically here, let me do it for you.
I agree with you. If we get there, it'd be a wonderful buy, but it's also a buy even if we don't get there.
And so
as soon as we've got some volume coming in with upside action. And
that's where you and I have slightly different rules, and that's okay. Because I want to trade more or less down in here, close to an identified. I mean, I know you're trading close to an identified level also, but I want to be trading down in somewhere like that, because for me, it basically gives me something to not hold on to, but something to identify that's concrete.
Sure.
And so that's why I can trigger my trades in at. So, but I just absolutely love it. But isn't that a nice looking? Isn't it kind of interesting? Symmetry from here, projected up to here, starts to give us some numbers. So I would anticipate that this will be a buy somewhere between 473 and
I love it. I like your analysis. The only issue we need now is for the stock to read the script.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, yeah, and no matter how hard you talk to the stock, it's like a teenager and it won't listen. It's going to do its own thing. Hey, great picks today, Steve. I really appreciate
Thank you.
that. So, guys, we're running a little bit over, but I really wanted to be able to show those particular uh, tools to you to give you an idea, of what what we're looking for. Those are the kind of things we use at Active Trend Trading all the time, especially when we do our training on Wednesday night. So remember, we're basically designed to not just to thrive, but to not just survive, but thrive in any market. Active Trend Trading is a clear and simple system designed to maximize profits, minimize losses. Where I'm sitting at right now, last week I told you, the Russell rocket ride was over. Well, it may be or it may not be. We've got basically a bearish signal to the downside. It just hasn't gone there yet. I would like to see, will the pullback that we're currently experiencing provide a thrust into the end of 2020? How many are really going to be happy when 2020 goes into become 2021? Just a show of hands. or just drop down a Y down in the yes, we will be. There you go. Oh, there are your hands. Cool. So, hey, if you're not a top 5 person on Active Trend Trading, it's a great way to jump in and get some of our triggering trades. Basically, here's an example of one we did earlier in the year, Zitto. Basically, we show you, and here's what we do. I show you what I'm trading, where I'm getting in, where I'm getting out, what strategy I'm going to use, and what to expect. And sure enough, this was a nice little trade. I know several of you probably were on this trade. We jumped in here at 27.80, sold some at 29.30, sold the rest of it up here at this area for a 13.6% gain. And we've repeated that multiple times throughout the year. So if you're interested on how to go on autopilot, basically just drop me, there'll be a link down in the description on YouTube. And so, okay, well, that's it for today, guys. We ran a little bit over, but Steve, I want to say thank you very much because I think we provided some really good, valuable information. You picked some great stocks. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, so if you're a premium member, remember we'll be on the final hour at the top of the hour. And again, if you are watching us on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to it, I strongly urge you, if you want good stock analysis and great stocks to trade on a weekly basis, subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell, and you'll be notified when we post all kinds of new training content there. And so from my home to yours, no, that actually isn't Hawaii, but I think it's like either down in the Caribbean, but we have to have a dream in Hawaii where we want to go to. So aloha, trade well and prosper, keep sharpening the saw. And again, mahalo, which shows a lot of gratitude, and God bless everybody. So thanks a lot. See you, Steve. Great show, buddy.